So, welcome everyone. We're starting a new season, a new time, and we are episode one of Heart to Heart Conversations. And the focus of these conversations is to have deeper conversations so we can bring more awareness to our lives and ourselves and what wants to be known. So, I have a special friend and guest here today. Her name is Christina. Welcome, Christina.
Hello, Lucia.
Thank you for coming and exploring with me today.
I'm so excited for this. I love connecting with you.
And what would you like people to know about you, what you do and who you are and the beauty of your heart?
Mm, first off, what you see is what you get. Um, very, I care about people and where they're at, what they need, and how I can serve them in whatever capacity I'm able to at that moment. But what I would want people to know about me is there are there are no things that someone can't come to me for. You know, if you want to talk about dirt, or if you want to talk about love, if you want to talk about groceries, and there's depth to everything that we do. And I find the depth in it and relate it somehow. I see it, and it's not like it's not intentional, it just happens. Just everything is connected. There's no mistakes, there's no wrong, there's no right, there's just being. And I think a lot of people forget that, of
Mm,
just being in the moment. And so that's what I would say people will get with me, is what you see is what you get. And there's no telling what's going to come out of my mouth. Like, things just kind of fall out as needed. So,
So I hear one of your joys is being in the moment, is seeing what wants to come through, what wants to come out
mm,
of your mouth. Is that right?
yeah. Yeah, just being present, being real in
Mhm.
the moment, not somewhere else in my head, like, oh, I've got to go pick up my daughter at 2:30, instead of being right here, right now, connecting. Because there's a felt sense difference between sitting here and being somewhere else in my head versus being here and totally connected heart to heart with you. It's there's a difference, and I prefer being present with you right now.
So let's take a breath together
Mhm.
and then we can drop into our hearts and really feel it even more.
Yeah.
Mm. It's so simple, the power of the breath.
Mm.
Power of the breath, everything, can you feel everything just like calm down?
Yeah.
Not like, okay, what am I supposed to say? What should I say? It's just like there's this peace that then arrives in this space that is always here in this moment. It takes away all the kind of confusion and thinking that I have to do something or say something or what am I supposed to say? Getting all nervous. And in the space of heart, it's just this quality of energy that is so beautiful and
Mm.
so pristine, so clear. You feel that?
I feel it. Yeah. I feel it. And I'm sure other people, when they watch videos of people just taking a moment and connecting through their breath, it's like, why all the silence? But there's an ecstasy in that, because I can feel just like the energy going in my hands just from the breath. There's It's a sacred pause. It's a sacred connection. And maybe we talk about that for starters.
The
Be,
sacred connection. What's more
well,
important than the sacred connection? Lately, I've been very intoxicated.
yeah.
It's really been quite extraordinary. And I'm not drinking, you guys. I'm not drinking or anything or taking any medicinal anything. It's just consciousness. When I can fully relax and open up my heart to my being and be inside of the experience of life itself, it is quite extraordinary. Reality becomes malleable
Hmm.
and kind of fluid.
Yeah. Yeah, that sacred connection with self. If you don't have that, you won't have it with others, you know. And you get that through the breath, and it's unknown a lot of times. And we were talking about, my partner and I were talking about breath this morning. I was talking about breath last night with someone else, and it's a beautiful reset, and it's quick, and you feel it. You feel everything just settle, and then your heart is like, here I am. So it's important for me to take that deep breath in and release it through the nose, because we can't breathe out the nose as fast as we can breathe in through the nose. And so when you're releasing it, you feel your body just simmer and calm. And it's a sacred pause before we respond. It settles the cells and calms everything. It's really good to do before arguments, or before stress, or before conversations, just before, because that's what we are, is just peace. So,
It would be a very different world, wouldn't it, if everyone just took a breath or two before they spoke, before they responded to the person in front of them.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't know how to do that because there's so many different techniques. And it's very, very simple though. There's different techniques for counts for different things that you're trying to work on. But in the moment, a quick reset, um, this is the simplest one I found, is you breathe in through your nose like 3 times, like, and release through the nose. And this person that I heard it from, he said, do it through the mouth. When you breathe out the mouth and do a sound, and you can feel like, and then do it without the sound, but then do it through the nose with no sound. And you can feel the difference in your body. And nobody needs to know you're doing that, but it is so powerful just to calm your nervous system. It's a quick realign to your nervous system so that you have a little bit more clarity. And when you have clarity, awareness surfaces, like, oh, I was about to tell them off because I was charged up, but the nervous system's like, oh, no, 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 we're not going to do that.
So I have a fun example of this.
Hmm.
Um, so I live in a neighborhood, lots of houses, and there's a dog that barks and barks and barks,
Hmm.
and it's a lot on the nervous system. And it's kind of hard to go to sleep when a dog's barking right outside your window all the
Hmm.
time. And I've written one note and I didn't send it, or put it on the door because I was like, oh, I have to put a note on the door. This isn't okay. And in the neighborhood chat, um, there's been complaints about this dog barking a lot, and so I wrote a letter. I wrote a thank you card that looks like this,
Hmm.
and a letter. I'm gonna put it on the door today. And I started the card with "Thank you for being my neighbor." Don't we live in a really great neighborhood with kind and friendly people. And so I started with an appreciation,
Mm.
because if I have a complaint and I go right into the complaint, what's the outcome going to be? Most likely defensiveness.
Yeah.
And I started with a compliment. Um, and I asked lots of questions rather than saying, your dog's barking. I said, did you know your dog is barking a lot when you're away? Because
Mhm.
it engages the person in a different way.
Yeah.
So I'm really all about questions, as you know, and even asking questions and letting people know, did you know? I love this way of relating. Did you know? Um, and because, for whatever reason, this person's away during the night. And it's like not just 9 or 10 o'clock at night. It's like 2, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. This dog will just bark and bark and bark. It's not just one. It's like consistently. Um, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna write a note. And I said, I don't want to call the animal control. So I'm hoping that you'll find a solution to your dog missing you when you're away.
Mm.
So the beauty of dropping into my heart and taking a breath is I can start to actually take in maybe what it feels like for the dog
Yeah.
when the owner's away, or what it feels like when for the owner to be away, and maybe this person works night shifts or stressed out or who knows what, right? But to get access to their perspective and to see things from what maybe they might be feeling or going through, and relating my letter of concern and also um, a request of like, okay, there's this issue that's in the space, how to actually address it with curiosity rather than putting my 2 cents of like, I could be frustrated, I could act out of anger or irritation. But no, when I can come from a calm space where I feel my nervous system is balanced, then the outcome, the likelihood of the outcome being a good outcome is higher.
Right. Well, I have a lot of thoughts around the dog and the nervous system and the neighbor. And you keeping a balanced nervous system automatically sends that energy to them to have a balanced nervous system response. Um, my question for the dog would be, what does the dog need? Yes, we know he misses the owner, but he's hurting. He is hurting. And okay, what kind of dog is it? Why is it hurting? And what does it need? Because a lot of times those who are yelling the loudest just want to be acknowledged. And that includes animals, plants, everything. Like if there's a trouble within, it needs to be addressed and seen. And there's a gentle correction that naturally happens when that's addressed. So my question would be, first off, what kind of dog is it? And second is, have you met the dog?
I met the dog over the fence, and I have a confession to make. I probably would never do this, but would you? I would say, would you, if you were really tired and we needed to go to sleep, would you throw a bone over the fence to make the dog stop barking, or a treat or something? Like, maybe that's not morally right. Who knows what I mean? But I threw a bone over the fence because because it's made it stop barking.
Ah,
And
so,
you know, but there's like this whole thing around, well, is that the right thing to do? Is that the wrong thing to do? But then, I've heard this neighbor isn't the most approachable neighbor. So
well, so the solution is to find that solution. Hey, is it okay if I throw a Kong with some peanut butter or frozen peanut butter in there for your dog to keep him distracted while he's missing you, or yeah, there's that. That's if he's not approachable, your nervous system will already calm that. And why is he not approachable? There's the next question. Like what's hurting in him? Because our animals reflect us.
Yeah. And this is the beauty of when there is a heart to heart, when there is openness and willingness, because this we can get to the solutions a lot quicker and easier and more fluid and more harmonious. But when there's a disconnect and
Mm.
someone's defensive and not approachable, it makes it very hard to create a solution that's good for everyone.
Yeah. I would maybe ponder, hey, I've seen these complaints coming through. How can I help you? And since I'm right next door, can I just,
Thing is, I don't want him to know who I am. I'm going to remain anonymous.
oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't want to get involved in it, to be
That,
honest,
okay.
as a neighbor. But I will write a note, but not sign my name. I don't want to be on the bad list of this person. Or oh well, this person is my neighbor, and she's complained about my dog, and I want to remain anonymous if I can,
Mm,
because I don't. I mean, there's pluses and minuses to not remaining anonymous and then introducing myself. This is the question. I guess for everyone is how do you deal with things like this? If it's the dog barking, or you're someone that's just not approachable, and there's an issue or problem that needs to be resolved. This makes it very difficult.
well, in things like that are kind of out of my control in the physical, I go I go up and I ask permission to connect spirit to spirit. And whether it's with my family um, or my animals, I try and connect on a higher level that their spirit understands. Um, and not everybody understands that aspect, but it's felt, you know. Um, and then just increase the love, even as you move through whatever solution, with the note or the anonymous note and the random bone over the fence, just
I mean, I wonder if the person wonders, well, I've probably thrown maybe two or three bones. I mean, they're soup bones, like they're not a lot of stuff in the bone, but there's the bones that they chop from the meat in the butcher.
yeah, yeah,
So there's a little bit of meat. It's tiny, but it keeps them detained for just a moment. Um,
yeah.
and they're in my freezer. I freeze them for my dog. You know,
That's
but
funny.
I mean, it's an interesting question. Like, how do you approach people that are not approachable when there's an issue? And
Hmm.
um,
Well, maybe you don't, and you just create the space that pulls in a solution that's outside of your doing, other than your intention. The intention behind your note, the intention behind the dog bones or the unapproachable neighbor. I mean, that resolves so much. Just, for you to show appreciation right out the gate on your anonymous note, that says a lot. That already shifts it. Like, and thanks for being in the neighborhood. Because the neighborhood, there's a reason they're there. You know, they have an energy field to them that maybe needs some TLC. And to be a neighbor of yours, man, I mean, there's so much love that I know emanates from you just being around you. So I don't know, maybe take the thought process out and just command a solution to roll in and connect with the dog. The dog's probably like hurting somehow. We need something.
There is a solution. Uh, the person could get a doggy door. You can get these. I actually have one. You can get these doggy doors that connect with a sliding glass door.
I've seen those.
Um, from you can get them from Amazon. They're
Yeah,
like $200.
yeah, I've seen those. Is it a big dog?
No, it's a medium-sized dog. I mean, I don't know, need to have the whole conversation about the
Yeah,
dog, but it's the principle of the
yeah,
fact that how do you actually connect with someone who's not approachable? And you're in your heart, you have your heart wide open, and the person is blocked. And
you need.
I sense that um, partly it is about the intention, but it's also the way I'm being, the way I show up
Mhm.
as a space of receptivity and seeking to understand and feel empathy for whatever the person is going through and whatever they're feeling. Um, people are really stressed these days. I've noticed. Oh, there was someone the other day. I said, "So, just got back from Mexico," and he said, "I'm back to work now." I said, "So, are you stressed out going back to work?" He's like, "No, I'm too old to be stressed." I love that. I was like, I want to take that line. I'm too old to be stressed.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah. It's yeah. When you shut it down and it's not allowed, like that's not in my field, then it changes everything. But yeah, you be the solution, and things will shift.
so even just taking the breath and just letting everything just resolve and dissolve, and it's like taking a vacation without having to spend any money.
Mm, it's
you
nice.
know, all
It's
the
nice.
stress about going somewhere and renting a car and all this stuff, that you have to do to plan a vacation. It's really mental vacation is just to take a breath and just to let the energy settle into the feet, into the lower extremities of the body. And everything just, all the tension starts to dissipate and release from all the shoulders. Another way of restoring balance in the nervous system is to shake, to jump and shake. We do that in Aikido. I practice Aikido, which is a martial art, learning how to harmonize with conflict.
I love that
By
because
entering in, you learn how to shift the relationship by entering in, not waiting and reacting.
yeah,
How many of us react to people in life? It's a reaction rather than, okay, I'm going to enter in and like be powerful from my center, move in my whole body, not just my head, or not maybe kind of like look at it from this point of view and maybe it's going to work out, but really with full presence,
yeah,
fully here.
yeah. Full presence, that command presence, and just being with it and moving with it. That is that was one of the most precious nuggets of just moving with it. You I really appreciate that little nugget from Aikido. Just moving with it, being
So
with
you don't know, the viewers who are listening to this, but Christina came on to one of our adventures, Retreat Magic. So I have a partner, Margie, who magical Margie. She's
it.
my
Yeah.
magical Margie partner. She and I have a business called Retreat Magic, and we offer retreats for women to empower them to be who they are and to remember their truth and to embody who they are in their body, to feel that experience of wholeness and completeness and fulfillment right here. And Christina had some really beautiful, powerful moments. And one of the things that we had, we invited our Aikido instructor. Margie also does Aikido with me, and it was just so great. 2 hours of sharing his wisdom and knowledge. He's been doing Aikido for over 35 years. He's a true master.
Mm.
It was so fun, wasn't it? He made it playful. Mhm.
Yeah, he did. He's very clever, very wise, um, and just just his presence showed so much, beyond the words, the way he held himself, but the practical advice that he gave as well for some of the women. Some were really little people who, legit questions like what to do with this, and it's very practical, but it was just the biggest takeaway for me, without getting into that whole aikido aspect, because there's a ton of stuff that I don't know anything about, but was just being present and not reacting, just being with it and moving things. And when we don't know what to do, you just move with the energy. And when you're not trying to fix that outcome, you just allow it, then the solution just kind of surfaces, as you move with there's no resistance. That part was huge. It was really huge for me.
That's it. That's touches on what helps the heart stay open.
Hmm.
It's to live a life that is not resisting life,
Yeah.
that is learning how to work with life and to be life, actually, even.
Mm.
Um, my experience lately, last few days very specifically, has been so rich. The consciousness that I'm in, it's just so rich and just like, wow, I get to experience this in a human body. It's extraordinary. Um, yeah, it's really amazing. And there's no words for it, really. I can't
Mm.
find a word that actually expresses the fullness to which I feel this incredible intelligence. It's like I am that I am in the body,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have a definition. It's just the consciousness itself gets to feel itself. And it sounds like a riddle, and it kind of is, but it's it's such a whole satisfying, comforting feeling of feeling at ease with myself inside of the experience of dropping the agenda or letting go of what I think I should be doing, or feeling guilty or shame, or all the stuff that actually takes me out of the present moment. And when there's an invitation to literally dive in and drop in and fall back into the center of this now moment, it's pretty juicy. It's pretty delicious. What's your experience of the moment these days?
That. It just that. There's an appreciation for experiencing that. Like I said before, it's a felt sense. It's not something like there are no words. But when you have awareness around it, like I'm aware that I have no words to describe this beautiful peace vortex that I walk around in, you know. And the world is in chaos sometimes, but that's okay, because when we're moving through life, our peace energy, our I amness, just being in that moment, it settles the ground we walk on and the energy around it. So when you have that awareness, when I look back on the day, like, wow, okay, I really felt growth in here and here and here, and I don't know how I got there. I just was there in the moment. And when I do the recap at night before I go to sleep, it's like I don't know, it's like a wow. It's like a wow. So I bet tomorrow can't outdo it, but it will. Every single day, it's like, and it doesn't matter the problems, like the issues that come up, and when it's taken takes us out of that moment, like you were talking about, that's where people get so easily tricked into, well, I have to react, I have to. That part, that's that is learned, like because someone else said so, I have to do this and I have to react, respond, give up my peace energy right now. And I understand that there are things that do have time constraints. You know, you don't want to leave your organic ice cream on the sidewalk for too long. You know, there's common sense, but um when you don't rush through that and you just, it's going to be okay, even in the hard times, even when you don't know the answer to things, you can lean into what you do know, which is you're not meant to know that answer right now. That's all. It'll come to you when it needs to come to you. And any kind of like static on the inside of you, that is proof you're not in a calm state. Like that, okay, I'm not moving until I'm right here. But any of this, I learned very quickly, like, yeah, that's a knot in my stomach. It just doesn't feel good. And when people can learn to just stay in that right here, right now, and be okay with not knowing the answer because it's coming as soon as our energies line up, to be able to receive that answer for the highest and best. But this stuff pushes that answer further and further down the road. So that breath, coming back to that breath, that brings you right back to the center and calms the nervous system so that you can be front and center right here, right now. It's beyond peace. It's like a superpower.
Mm.
It really feels like a superpower.
It is super powerful and it's super in your power. I mean, that's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's really got wonderful. So, what are you doing in the world that you want people to know about? They're your genius. You have lots of talents.
I ask questions, a lot of questions. I am, there's so many things that I do. And if I don't know how to do something and someone has a need for it, I'll figure out how to connect them to it. So, or show them if I know, or I don't know. There's just so much. Um, Currently, what I'm working on is a book, and it's all around awareness and how simple it is. That's the best part. It's so simple. Um, so I'm getting ready to release that with someone I've been collaborating with for the last year. And I was gonna wait to do that till I had the full thing, but it's needed right now. So I'm gonna release a portion of it probably next month. Uh, and then I do the energy work. It, I love doing energy work, but it doesn't require a session for everyone. You know, just if you need help, just let's connect. It's it's kind of like it's not like I'm striving to be like you because you have a very unique energy. But what I found that you gifted me with last year, I think it was last year, was um, your voice message
Mm.
recording. And I'm like, oh, okay, she doesn't need to call me back. I got what I needed just through your harmonic. And it was like in that moment, it taught me so much. It helped in that moment. But it was like an eternal reminder of this is what we are. Be that, share that. So you can't sum that up like, okay, I do this. You can't sum that up. You can't sum up an eternal divinity side effect or just an innate, not a side effect, but an innate quality such as that. So I show up how I show up when I'm needed, just go with it. Just spirit guides. And I
What is
forget
some
your
of your
question.
background? I guess what is some of your background around bringing your genius and supporting people and giving sessions? What inspired you to help people, and what is some of your background?
People tripping over themselves because I tripped over myself. That inspired me like massively. And I realized I kept going in a circle, like a circle, and going nowhere. And
What got you on this spiritual path in the first place?
uh, being born, like, oh, I'm here. Okay. Um, just from the time I was a little girl, I had big questions for God, and so I was looking for those answers. I would ask him, and I couldn't get that answer, but I was determined. And then life happened, and I got distracted, and I got interested in whatever, life happened. But heartache heartache hit and shifted. But prior to that, I was back in 2017, I was getting very tired of the rinse and repeat of, okay, I have to go to this conference. Okay, I have to certify here. Okay, this is boring, and there's no life to it. So I started like being uncomfortably uncomfortable, and um, and then what amplified that was a heartache in my life that I was already looking for a greater answer, and then it just got quantified with that heartache, and I didn't know how to deal with it, but I just was with it. And in that heartache of just being with it, I realized I am really strong. Like, it was the biggest heartache, but I was really, really strong, and I didn't see it in the moment, but it wasn't very long before I did. And I'm like, I'm actually a pillar, and I didn't know it because the heartache affected a lot of people. And then it just amplified. Okay, well, what is this? How do I grow that? And so I am curious, and I wanted to know more. So I searched and researched and searched and studied and certified and all these things. And I got into life force energy work through Reiki, and then quantum touch. And then I studied the human design and the gene keys and the I Ching and all these metaphysical, beautiful resources that we have, and hypnosis, quantum hypnosis, all these things. I'm looking for that one thing. How can I help people stop struggling? Like, I know people can heal. So I'm like, well, let me try this, let me try that. And I'm like, oh, none of this is the answer, but it, everything from it is needed, but none of it will work until that person is ready. And so all these things, like with Reiki, I got certified, whatever, with Reiki, and I'm like, this is actually wrong. There's something very wrong with this because it's a system. And I didn't like the way that there are rules. I hate rules. I really, really hate rules. There's a picture of me and my daughter at a zoo, and we're looking over this fence and looking at all the animals, and behind us is a sign that says, do not cross this line. I'm like, I don't think so. But so I wanted a shortcut for people, and so I went down every avenue I can think of to learn it and then bring it back and simplify. And so it's like in my reservoir of, like, if I'm having a conversation with someone, I know I can draw from here or here or here, depending on how they receive. And that is the trick, is learning to listen. So when you're in a give and a receive kind of conversation that needs a little bit more, when you listen to how they receive, then it kind of guides me like, okay, this is how they learn and this is how it will help. So then I'm able to just pick
That's
in the moment.
profound when I listen to how people receive. Wow, that's a skill set. Not everyone I know doesn't know how to do that, but that requires some awareness, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah, because if I don't know who I am, how am I going to help someone else? And it all started with that life-changing heartache
Mm,
that I was front and center. I am a pillar.
mm.
Okay, well, what's inside this pillar? And then I went to find me. So, but yeah, learning to listen. And it wasn't just the words like you're saying over the retreat. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. But learning to listen in a way that tells me where they're at. So if I know where they're at, I know if they're able to hear deep, deep truth or if they just need a sound bath, you know, like,
Or a hug.
hugs. Yeah, always, everyone gets a hug, no exception.
Hugging is so therapeutic, but
Hmm.
so many people don't know how to hug properly. Like a real solid, yummy hug. If it's too strong, then the energy doesn't go through. If it's too hard, and then there's no connection to the belly, that's like unsatisfying. And if it's just kind of like, yeah, yeah, buddy, buddy, but like to have a real satisfying hug, it's quite an art. I found I could actually do hugging lessons.
Yeah,
I love hugging. I love
it. I think that would be good. You need to do an event, a hugging event,
hugging.
because it's so true. Because when people shake hands and all of that, I'll do that. But my test is the hug. I can feel so much of who they are in a hug. And there's very few times that I will not hug someone, but it has happened. And I'm like,
Happened
oh,
to me too.
that's,
I've actually said no, thank you.
yeah, I'm going to keep this
Take
bubble
care of my
clean.
own energy.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just having a hugging conversation last night. Interesting. And this one's a tight hugger. And I told her, I'm like, did you know if you hug with, like, if you put your head here and I put my head here and we connect heart to heart that way, I was just being, I was giving how she would receive and being a little playful about it.
I wonder what the longest hug is. For me, the longest hug is probably about an hour and a half. And how it happened is there was two friends and I was hugging, and then we ended up in one big hug. And it was not sexual, but we
Right.
didn't want to leave. It was so delicious.
Mm.
And it was just so beautiful and then we started like moving our together and becoming one with one another and just holding each other. And I mean, we were standing we weren't sitting or on a couch or anything. We were literally standing and got really, really beautifully connected. It's such a close connection. And neither of us wanted to leave, even just to turn off the light or to go and get a drink of water, or just like we found ourselves in this beautiful like sanctuary of connection and heart. And
Mm.
it was so lovely. I'm like, wow, I would like to create more experiences like that because it's so healing and nourishing and nurturing just to be held and the contact of someone else's energy, especially if you like them and their good energy. And it's just, I feel we're very touch and contact deprived in this culture,
Yeah.
especially in America.
Think of the vortex that you create when you're in that hugging space. Those two energies,
Mm.
3, 4, 5, 10, when when all of those energies are intentionally connecting heart to heart and body to body, and the auras, the biofield is all like intertwined and like lit. And if someone is feeling a little dim in life, little drug through life, that hug, that light, that energy infuses them.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's why I ended up getting into massage because I touch, loving, caring, nurturing touch is so potent.
Yeah,
Because it gives a person like it's almost like an energetic reset,
yeah,
especially when there's love behind it. It's not
yeah,
just, oh, it's a person and I'll just do my technique, but there's love behind the actual movement and contact.
yeah,
It restores balance and actually resources. It connects them to source, and then everything can relax. The jaw, everything here, all the muscles get so tight, all the shoulder muscles in the belly, all this stuff. I was working with someone yesterday, and she was having knots in her belly, from anxiety, and it's stressful. Life can be really stressful, but there's an invitation always to how would I like to respond in this moment, and how can I make my life more enjoyable by taking a breath and just taking a minute, that sacred pause, and then there's a conscious moment where I can choose. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's one of my favorite topics, touch and hugs.
mm.
Touch.
I, one of the biggest things for me, like that I want to give people, and it includes hugs, but and touch and all the good stuff, but is remembrance of everything that they are and where they are. Like this is not this is not the end all be all. And when we can relax a little bit because they know, well, I am spirit and spirit's connected to source and I'm eternal and this is this is just an experience. Um, that's very empowering. And sometimes there are no words to describe what we want for others or what we want for ourselves, but that can just come through loud and clear with touch, you know, with the breath of connecting and just gazing into someone's eyes is so powerful, especially when that is an awakened being, you know, and full of love. Even if they don't have all the answers or they don't think they have all the answers, they still wake you up. And in turn, you wake them up. And it just is like this, it's like a domino effect
Mm.
in the world. And when people start feeling acknowledged within themselves, like I see you, everything you're going through is it totally understand how it would make you feel, but remember remember who you are and rise above that and start directing that energy of your life. Like, yeah, shit happens. Step over it and step around it and um, redirect how you pattern yourself through life. And all of a sudden, when you do it with awareness of, I am a spirit, and the spirit does not die. I am a spirit full of love because love is all there is. Life feels different and you show up differently, and we can awaken that in one another in so many ways. And I like being in your presence because you have such a potent love to you that is how it needs to be in the moment.
Mm.
It brings out the play, it brings out the self responsibility. It plays out it pulls out accountability within oneself with the most gentle correction ever.
Mm.
It's a self correcting energy that you have, and you have a beautiful way of guiding people that way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love people. And I'm in a way it's it's because something greater is moving through me. It's like, you're saying something about getting to know. I get to know myself through others. That's an interesting, because I know who I am in spirit and in energetics, but in how it plays out in the form and the different personalities, it's really interesting to me. I'm totally fascinated by it and get totally tickled and sometimes frustrated and mostly laugh at myself because it's funny how I show up sometimes and I get entertained, you know.
It's always it's always a surprise, like, okay, well, let's see what I'm going to say this time, or see what I do this time, or you
See what
know.
comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, I'll be just as shocked as you will.
So
Yeah.
you have been working on a program, have you not? And what are you offering something to the people nowadays, or what is there anything you want to share of what you're offering?
Not quite yet, other than basically how I am is it's the work that I'm writing about. I will say that um, I had I had to put some structure to the things in my head, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I can show this. So I'm touching up a little bit on that, but so I'm gonna pause on the what I'm offering at this point because I want to make sure it honors the collective in a way that it benefits all, and I
Oh,
know it will.
thank you for that. What is your take on the collective right now, the collective energies and what's going on? Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Hmm. Well, it's interesting. I have a lot of thoughts on that. Um, when I'm looking at the world and how people react, it tells me, or how they respond, it tells me where they're at. And it's kind of split. There's some who are like, the sky is falling. And there's others who are like, the sky is falling, like, come on, yes, let's shift this. But I think it's split. And then there's those ones who are like, there's more to life. And the, the stories are beginning to crack, and they're beginning to ask questions, which is good. It's really good because those questions they're going to lead to some answers that they may or may not like, but I want to be front and center to say, let's go within first, and remember who you are, and then all of this, it lands different.
Mm.
So,
I love that you're saying the stories are cracking because that reminded me of a quote that from Adyashanti, it's a spiritual teacher and just amazing human being. And one of his quotes, he says, "Between the storyline, love can enter.
mm,
Between the storyline, love can enter. There's a crack. When there's a crack between the storyline, love can
yeah,
enter.
yeah,
And there's a space. That space. When there's space, then there's this energy of feeling alive and connected to spirit itself. And then, ultimately, I was just leading a workshop the other day around celebrating the feminine, the masculine. And it came up to, I'm not too goal oriented. I mean, I have goals, but I said, if there was a goal to life, it's to keep the heart open,
yeah.
even if it's hard, even if it's painful, like to keep open, because that's one of the gifts we have as humans is the ability to feel, even though it's scary sometimes. And then it's like, especially if there's attachments and it can get complicated. But there's always a way to work through stuff. If there's a willingness, if there's openness, and then it helps to be curious. Curiosity, it's like creates kind of this space of wonder and innocence. And that's the world I love to play in.
Yeah, me too. I like playing in your playful curiosity innocent world because there's dancing and music and but yeah, that feeling aspect of it, that's where the world, the way that I look at the world with its split is there are some who are angry and some who are scared, but it's the same thing. There's a fear of the unknown. There's a there's it always comes down to that, but and even that comes down to love. And so the love of everything, which is in the heart, it gets okay, I'll tell you what really sparked me in this work and the book that I've been working on is I was pissed off about being manipulated all of my life, you know, and by life itself, by the life I thought existed. The just it didn't. And I was in control the whole time. And I didn't know it because I wasn't taught that. So remembering that we direct the love that we receive and we give, it's a game changer. But first, we need to realize how our feelings are being manipulated or have been or been toyed with in such a way that they come in and start a fire with an emotion, and then they step back and watch you burn, and they don't step in to bring you water or a fire blanket or you know whatever. And learning to look at the patterns of those emotions to find that healing, but really just the awareness of it, and change the patterns, and the awareness that our spirits have just brings healing, just in holding it, holding space for ourselves in a tender way of, I am not this emotion. I'm having this emotion and it's a little intense right now. I'm just going to hold that space and let it be and not try and fix it, not try and change it, but have awareness of when it gets activated. And if it's activated often, is that, you know, so just having awareness around it and then letting it be and doing something different. There's freedom in that. And you teach that by living that example, like embodying it when you do your retreats and being in conversation with you, because you teach that you are that. You just you are what you teach. And
Mm.
so it's helpful. It's very helpful.
Right, something self-liberation.
Mm,
Liberate yourself from your own suffering. That's
yeah,
what's happening, and it takes something. It really does take something. It takes courage. Courage is the language of the heart. Coming back to the heart,
yeah,
and it's interesting that a lot of us are afraid of the unknown, but there's magic in the unknown.
yeah,
There's a willingness to step into it and feel the liberation of what it feels like to literally be in the unknown. Um, there's pure freedom in it. And then there's this dance called Lila, the divine play,
mm,
how the energies and how spirit, how the heart wants to explore and move and open and close and dance and have this beautiful organic way of exploring with life that is life itself, which is again kind of like a riddle, but it's just like it's power. It's so powerful and it's so raw and it's like pure potential right here, pure power untapped. And then when you have the consciousness to connect to it, it's like, wow, why wouldn't people want to jump into the portal of the unknown and explore,
yeah. It's that I think a lot of us, for I know for me for a long time, it was the ego of I can't, it's not proper, or it goes against this, or I'll get in trouble if I do that, or this gets in and smothers this. And we've heard people say, just stop thinking and you'll be just fine. And that's sort of true. Um, but we need the mind because we're in the body. So we can't be without it, but we can put it in its proper position, which is not the driver's seat.
Mhm.
It's in the heart. And when you go into the heart is going to be like, yeah, the ego is so stupid. You want to jump in there naked right now. Go jump in that river right now. Have fun. And whereas the ego is like, yeah, but you don't know what's in there. And it talks us out of our experience and it limits us
Mhm.
in the guise of protection.
Yeah, well said. Well
Yeah.
said. So
Mm.
what's one final quote or message or thing you want to share to feel complete with this conversation?
Mm. Breathe. Just breathe and be you. 3 times a day until it becomes so natural. Just we're not the body, we're not the mind. We're just here having an experience and just be, and then life moves with you because of you and all for you. I mean, those three things, it's always because of us. So it's, if you want to direct it, just be you, be authentic and breathe. What about you?
I love that. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "To be you is the greatest accomplishment in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else."
Mm,
And that is a journey, to ultimately experience what does it feel like to be authentic, to be fully real, and to be fully you. And it's quite it's an invitation to being transparent, to being honest, to being authentic, um, and to ultimately, my invitation is to enjoy the journey, and let's explore together.
yeah.
So I just created a course. It's coming out that's starting next month, called The Opportunity. And it was inspired by my second degree black belt in Aikido, where I had two attackers coming at me, and I had to learn how to be relaxed and enter into the relationship, to connect rather than react. And I could either see it as an obstacle, or I could see it as an opportunity to connect. And that was my maturing to to grow to my next level
Mm,
of awareness, and learn how to move my body in such a way that I wasn't freaking out when someone's coming to attack me with a knife. So that's exciting to me, is to start to begin to see life as, and the challenges as, opportunities to connect, to grow, to learn something about myself, and to jump in and explore. What is that? I want to
yeah.
know. I want to know. I'm going to jump into the not knowing to actually explore what wants to know, what wants to be known to me, what wants to be known to, through either the felt sense, or the exploration of being curious and open. So that's the magic I like to play in. So I'm excited about that.
I'm excited for that too because just that kind of resonates with what we started out with Aikido. Just be with it, connect and move with it. And it's been so prominent in my life since I got back from the retreat. Just be with it, to now there's a course because it is an opportunity. Life grows us, and it it's gonna be exciting. It is.
Life is our greatest teacher. It's really
Huh?
true. Life is our greatest teacher.
It is. It is, and it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be fun. Mm.
Thank you, Christina, for sharing your heart with me today. And I really appreciate you and your wisdom and your wise words.
Mm,
I just love you.
I love you too, and thank you for connecting and suggesting this. I know our conversations are always pretty deep, and so now we're gonna share.
Share more. Share more.
Share more.
Get from this conversation today. Share more with your friends and family, your loved ones, even the people you don't know. Share more. Listen, listen, and share more because that creates authentic connection. And for me, I don't know what's more important than authentic connection.
Maybe a hug.
A hug.
Hug.
One hug someone, you guys. All right. Thank you so much for listening today, and we'll be doing more of these regularly. So
Mm.
stay tuned and see you in the next one. Bye for now.